I know I can heal them, and you know too, but they don't. So they gotta do something where they focus their energies on this raw egg to carry it in their left pocket for the next 2 weeks, make sure it doesn't crack. And by the time they invested their energies, healing will manifest itself in them. If he's careless, he's like, whatever, egg cracks, well, then obviously he's not ready for it, or he doesn't really want it. Hence, healing will not manifest.
I'd like to welcome to the show Dr. Q. How are you doing, Dr. Q?
Phenomenal. Thank you so much for having me, Alex. It's an honor and a pleasure being on your show. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. A mutual friend of ours, Laura Coe, as I was having her on the show and we were talking off air, she mentioned that she had a reading with this amazing doctor with something called Indian palm leaf reading. And then she kind of explained a little bit about it. And I was like, what is that? What? How in God's green earth do I not know about this? With all of my studying and traveling and being into this, I had never heard of these concepts before. So before we go down that road, which is a very interesting road, and we're going to go deep down the rabbit hole on that, can you tell the audience a little bit about how you started this line of work with Indian palm leaf reading and the other healing work that you do?
Sure, of course. Now, first of all, those of you who are just listening to this and not watching it, I'm a white guy. I'm from the West. I'm not Indian at all. So that I do this is mind-blowing to me too, after 10 years of doing it. You can rest assured. Now, you need to understand a little bit about me to understand why I ended up doing what I'm doing. We all carry a cross, one shape, form, or another, and my cross is health. I've always had major health issues. And I'm pretty sure that I've been in hospital longer than most people. And the whole thing started when I was 16, when I was diagnosed with cancer. Now, I grew up my mom's Austrian, my dad's Persian, so we grew up in Iran. Some of you might remember being mature enough or read in the news, there was a revolution in 1979. So my dad was very wealthy and not a Muslim, it was a Baha'i. And Baha'is were persecuted, killed, imprisoned. Hence, when the revolution happened, the Islamic Revolution, we had to flee the country, period. There was no future for us in that country. And most certainly my dad would have been executed, likely us, all of us too. So my mom packed up 2 suitcases and flew to Vienna, Austria, because she's from there. So overnight, from wealthy with a chauffeur and servants and all the rest of it to zero. So I know how it feels to be wealthy, and I know how to feel to be a refugee and have no money at all. One of the reasons why money is not a big driver for me, really it isn't. When I was a teenager and I lived in Austria in 1986, some of you might be mature enough to remember that too, there was a nuclear catastrophe, the biggest to the state, called Chernobyl. There's a great Netflix series too, if you can watch it. So in April of 86, Chernobyl bursts, and the nuclear cloud travels, a few thousand miles, and dumps the fallout, the nuclear fallout, over Central Europe. And Vienna, Austria is in the heart of Europe. And because of that, I got cancer. Now, my cancer doctor, again, lucky to meet that wonderful lady who saved my life, she became a politician afterwards, and she became the Secretary of Health for Austria. And we became very good friends, close friends, because she didn't get to see so many kids like me survive. And we're still in touch. She's still alive. And she told me, behind closed doors, I should say, that it's because of Chernobyl. And you can see a spike in cancer rates across Europe. But they didn't mention that publicly because they didn't want people to know that that's because of Chernobyl, which is far, far away from in Austria. So not only Austria was impacted, but of course, Germany and the Czech Republic and all the countries around there. So it took me 3 years to recover from this. I was an inpatient for 6 months, for a long time, chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, the whole 9 yards. 1,000 needles went up my veins, 1,000, a lot. Of course, at the time when I was diagnosed with cancer, I said, God, why me? Why me? I'm just a kid, we just survived the revolution. Here I am, my life hasn't started yet. And going through it, and I saw people getting killed at the revolution too, don't get me wrong. I saw that too, there were shootings in the streets. And then I saw people die in my room as well when I was in hospital. Not as lucky as I was. And when I was 19, they said, you're good to go. You're in remission now. And hopefully we never get to see you again. Well, there was a wish because I have to go back every year and get checkups. But I said, God, why me? How come I survived and these poor buggers did not? And that's somehow when I connected the dots, there's got to be more than meets the eye. There's got to be. We just get to see the tip of the iceberg. So even though I was a kid, I really started wanting to get deeper into things and understand things, even though my mind wasn't there yet, because again, I was just a kid, I was a teenager, yet that was the beginning of my spiritual journey. Of course, I had to pursue a regular career too, and I would have most likely studied medicine because I've come from a physician's family, but 3 years in and out of hospital cured me for good to ever set foot in a hospital voluntarily again. So that option is out. But I became an academic. And that's the reason why I'm called Dr. Q. So it's not a stage name. My friends at the university started calling me Dr. Q because they wanted to either tease me or they thought it was cool. But it stuck, for 25 years now, Dr. Q. So I went to shamans in the Amazon and I did crazy things. I can be open about it too. I used not just regular meditation techniques to get deep in, but I had some shamanic help. I went to John of Gods in Brazil several times. He's maybe the most famous medium in the world. I did, Reiki healing, group therapies, Vipassana, being stuck in darkness. I did all of it just to pierce the veil. I want to know, is there something that I cannot see? Yes, there is. I cannot see it. I cannot explain it. I cannot touch it. But yet I know that reality happens in here, in your head, in our heads. And so healing or sickness, death, good times, bad times, money, you name it, doesn't really matter. Happens up in the head, I'm pretty sure. How to manipulate that? Sometimes I know, sometimes I don't. I'm just a human being like everyone else. But I do know that it works in one way, shape, form, or another. So 10 years ago, I got very sick again. A virus impacted me and hit me without me knowing it, and it impacted my heart. At the time, I already had met a girl from Hungary, Budapest. And that's why I live now in Budapest, Hungary. So I'm talking to you from Europe. I'm a very fit guy. I know that. I'm lean, I'm fit, I'm very strong. And so when we were jogging, I couldn't even keep up with her anymore. I said, man, she said, doesn't look good. You need to go back to your cancer hospital because this is abnormal. I was sweating in the chills. And so she put me on a train and sent me back to Vienna, which is only 3 hours away. And I show up at my cancer hospital again, and they know me. Say, "Oh, Dr. Q, welcome. I have VIP treatment there," because they know me because I was a kid there. And they said, "Yeah, let's test you." And then they said, "Dr. Moayad," they said, "you have to stay here because you're very sick." And I said, "What do you mean? I got to fly to Frankfurt in 2 days." I said, I remember the chief cardiologist, he shouted into my ears, and "Dr. Moayad, I don't think you quite understand. You are deadly sick. You will stay here." I said, "Oh my God, okay." I didn't feel that bad. But that day I collapsed. And thank God I was already in the hospital. And they shoved me into the ICU because I had myocarditis. Without me knowing, that means an inflamed heart muscle. And water in my heart sac, pneumonia, water in my lungs, only because I'm fit. And ever since my cancer times, I really look after myself very well. Helped me survive. So when I'm being shoved into the ICU, I say, "God, oh my God, this is just crazy. Why me? I mean, there's so much health issues, and there are car accidents and pneumonia all the time, and way more than just these two big events." And so I thought it must have to do with karma. Somehow it clicked. It must have to do with karma. So I shared this with my girlfriend, who came to to the ICU, and she said, "You know what? You need to do a palm leaf reading," which she just had heard about on local Hungarian TV. Don't know exactly how. And I said, "Really? Okay. I'm a sucker for all of this. I've done it all. I'm telling you." And she said, "But I told you already a year ago." I said, "That's impossible." I said, "Yes, I told you a year ago. Do it." And that's again is evidence of the fact that when we're not ready, we don't hear it. We do not hear it. Mm-hmm. And then I remember that I read a book by Deepak Chopra too, who I now know because of the work that I do. He wrote a book called The Book of Secrets. And in his book, he talks about palm leaf readings too, about his own nadi reading. and it went in and out. It didn't even sink in, which is bizarre. And I'm a sucker. I'm telling you, you tell me something that is crazy, I'll do it right away. They told me about ayahuasca. I flew to the Amazon and did it right there, in the jungle, and it was scary as hell. And I do it, So there is, anyway, when you're ready, you're there. And that is why I ended up getting a reading done. And the reading blew my mind, I'm telling you. Not only did they find out my name and my parents' names, when that's called matching process, but the guy told me at the time, I had 2 readings so far. In my first reading, he said, oh, at age 77 to 79, you will have a heart attack and die. I was impressed because I did not tell him that I have heart issues. And if you ask me as a human, how do you think you're going to die? It's like, well, either cancer comes back or I'm going to have a heart attack because my heart has been impacted because of radiation therapy and chemotherapy and the big virus that hit the heart. I was like, wow. But he said, that's just karmic. You can do something about it. And the good news about palm reading is that for every block that's identified in your reading, you get a healing modality. So you can fix it. And that brings me back to that everything in life is just energy. So that means if you're sick or sickly, or things in your life are not working out the way you'd like, or they work out the way you like, so the positive and the negative is just energy. And so you get a healing modality, we call it a puja, where you usually recite the mantra, or you have to do a physical act to help overcome it. And the more you do it with your heart, the more you can prove to the universe that you're serious about it. And then the universe helps you. And he also said 10 years ago, and by the way, you're going to bring this to the West. And I thought, he's kidding me. I'm a white guy. I have nothing to do with any of this. I went there to get healing for myself, and no ideas beyond that. So then, of course, I shared my experience with friends and family, and they all want to get a reading done too. I said, okay, let's fly to India. And this is when I realized that India is a no-go zone for most Western people, period. It's just the reality of it. I've been in travel and tourism my entire life. I've been to over 100 countries. To me, travel is just second nature. I love travel. I'm a gypsy. If I don't travel, I get sick. I really need to go and explore things. But that's when I realized that people just don't want to go to India. It's too hot or too dirty, too poor. The food's too spicy. I do not know, whatever the reasons might be. They're just scared. And that is when we said, okay, can we maybe do it on Skype? The old days. And the reader said, sure. And that is, and then when they had readings done, and I was in every single reading, because I realized people, even though they want to get a reading, they didn't understand the accent, called Hinglish, because he was interpreting it into Indian English, Hinglish, and it's very thick, and you really need to have trained ears to understand what they're saying. So I was in every reading, reinterpreting it into proper English. And the next thing I realized is people didn't understand the message. And not that I had any idea about palm readings at the time, but I had done a lot of spiritual work. So I understood the deeper meaning of a reading. You cannot take it literally. It's a compass. It's a guideline. It's a blueprint for life, and many other things that go into this. So I not only reinterpreted it into proper English, but I also tried to make him understand the deeper meaning of that, of what a reading actually is and what the reading is meant for them. And then they spread the word, and more people came. And then I ended up talking to people that I never even heard of. I said, oh my God, this is now more me helping a couple of friends out with my family. And that is when we put it into a legal structure called Indian Palm Reading Institute. And the rest is history, because now I'm talking to you 10 years later. And you can rest assured, I never, ever in my entire life planned on doing so. So the universe somehow guided me. And now when I think back of the first reader who told me, oh, you're going to bring this to the West, I was like, man, if I only remembered who he was, I will go back and say, oh my God, you changed my life. Here I am. I just do not remember him, regrettably. But the second reading I did, and that might bring a good end to this introduction, is I do know the second reader, because he now is our chief reader in our institute. And I remember I'm sitting across from him. When you think of an office in India, and I was in his office in India, it's a hole in the wall. That's the reality of it. It's tiny, it's cramped. They use a lot of incense, which, given the chemotherapy that I had, is like a sledgehammer in my face. Any scent that's more than a little bit drives me nuts. So I was suffering through the 2, 3, 4 hours that it took. And so he looks at me when he goes through the matching process, which I will explain later on. He looks at it to make sure that he finds me on the leaf. And he looks at me, looks at the leaf, and he's like baffled. And he's like, what's up? He said, you are doing this, he said. You are doing this. And the second reading was 3 years later. And by the time we already had the institute, it was on my leaf that I'm already doing this. I said, well, I'm not doing it myself, but I have now a little institute where I try to help people. And then he said, oh, and I can see 82 plus. So you got the gift of longevity, which means the healing work that I did after my first reading impacted to overcome the karma, which caused my health issues. I've not been in hospital since, so touch wood, and I don't really intend to go back. And that I'm doing this already. So now I'm getting ready to do a third reading and see what's out there. So that's me being involved in all that. So I already told you I personally make no money with this. It's an institute. It's a non-profit foundation. The whole purpose of it is to preserve this ancient knowledge and wisdom. It took me many years to find the right people. It's not easy. I have to be honest with you too. For those of you who've never traveled to India, because I get a lot of emails every day. Oh, I'd like to do it in India. I said, good luck. Good luck finding someone who is authentic and real, because it's not so easy. Most regrettably, an Indian would sell you almost anything to make a quick buck. That's the harsh reality of it. So it took me quite many years to find a team that I trust, that I know that they're really doing it with all their heart, because it's not easy to become a reader. It takes about 7 years to become a fully fledged reader. 7 years. It's like going to university for a long time, and I know what university life is, because I've spent 10 years of my life as a student and then as a lecturer. So they not only have to learn an ancient language that's dead, that's called Guranta or ancient Tamil. And by the way, the whole thing, the hub of it, the hub of Indian palm readings. Oh, by the way, Indian palm reading is a term that I invented. Indian, because I hope that people understand it's connected to India. Palm leaf. I hope that people understand there is a leaf involved, the palm leaf, not the palm of your hand. And yet, every day I get a message on Facebook or Instagram. Can you read my palm? They send me a picture of their palm. I said, dude, read the website before you send me an email. I have no time for this nonsense. So palm leaf, and then readings, if there is some sort of a reading involved. But in India, we call this Nadi reading or Nadi astrology. Now, Nadi has many meanings, but I'm just going to explain a few to make sense to you. Nadi means seeker. So person who seeks the message. It means leaf. It means pulse, representing life, human life. But it also means the exact moment in time when the message is divulged to the seeker. Not a day before, not a day later. That day, period. So Nadi reading. But at that time, I thought nobody would know what Nadi reading means. So hence Indian palm leaf reading. And I do this, as good karma work, because in my reading, I was told to do good karma work, which I'm happy to do. It's now way bigger than I thought it would be. In the beginning, it was just me helping a couple of people. Now, with the thousands of readings, it's overwhelming, to be honest with you, too. It's become a real institute with staff, and otherwise I wouldn't be able to do any of that. But I give back as much as I can. So we have an orphanage in the town our office is in, and we support, separate from the orphanage, which looks after about 40 kids and 40 adults that are mentally and physically disabled, individuals with cow donations and you name it. So I'm here to help as many people as I possibly can. So that's the institute. By the way, the hub of all of this is in a state called Tamil Nadu, which is the southernmost state of India. And those of you who've been to India might know or might not know, that's the only state that's different to the rest of India, period. If you want to go to the one part of India that's distinctly different to the rest of them, that's Tamil Nadu. First of all, they're Tamil people that live there and they speak Tamil language. It's the only state, it's a federal state like the United States or Canada, Australia, that does not speak the common language called Hindi. So when an Indian travels to Tamil Nadu, which by the way has a similar shape to California, it's only on the east coast of India, not the west coast like California is, it has 85 million people in that one state alone. And they're primarily vegetarians, and it's the most spiritual state too. There's the state of Tamil Nadu has more temples than any other state per capita. And so even if an Indian travels to Tamil Nadu, they cannot communicate because they might speak the common language Hindi, but Tamils don't. So they have to revert back to English or Hinglish. And so to Tamil, another Indian is also like a foreigner. So when they come to get a reading, they got to be just as careful as a white boy like me to find the real person, which is not so easy because there are plenty of people that claim that they're readers and they just give you a reading, which is either nonsense or they charge you horrible amounts of money. So that's where the whole thing is. And our office is in the heart of that state called Tamil Nadu. It's about 5 hours south of Chennai. Chennai is the capital city. Chennai itself has 15 million people, and you got to travel south for about 5 hours. And there is a small town, small village, and that's well, it's a town, not a village, where we have our office. So now you have geographically an idea where it is. And legend has it that about God knows how many years ago, 2,000 to 5,000 years ago, because there is no written record. There isn't. And by the way, currently I'm working on a book to write it down, from the history part to what a reader needs to study to be able to become a reader, how the process works, all of it in one book, so people can always refer back to it. So legend has it that 2,000 to 5,000 years ago, that means before Christ was born, enlightened sages, we call them Maharishi. Maharishi means great sage, sat down in meditation, prayed to the gods they knew at the time. That would be Hindu gods. This is not a religious act, what you do, there's a nadi reading. And yet it's connected to Hindu traditions, because again, you got to put your historical glasses on and think back 2,000 to 5,000 years ago. That's all they knew was, their little universe called, which we now call Tamil Nadu, and the Hindu gods. So they meditated to them, got the power of foresight, tapped into the Akashic Records. And that's one of the reasons why Laura and I get along very well, because it's, everything's in the Akashic Records, if you wish. And by the way, folks who have no idea what Akashic Records are, we're not doing Akashic readings, we don't, but the Akashic Records is like a compendium of all knowledge up there, to keep it simple. And so they tapped into it and downloaded the message for the individual, for Alex, for Dr. Q, for whoever, and then dictated the message to their disciples, telepathically, I guess, and they started writing them down on palm leaves, hence Indian palm leaf reading. Now, again, 2,000 to 5,000 years ago, there was no paper. So they utilized what they had in abundance, palm trees, and they're big, 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 big leaves, not the leaves that you might be used to from in California. They're different. They're huge leaves, and they cut them into, I don't know, 10, 15-inch long, about an inch or two wide, fresh. And then they utilized sharp tools to etch the information onto the leaf. And then when it dried up, the message came through. So perfectly biodegradable approach to life. They didn't waste the environment. And in order to preserve these brittle leaves, dried leaves, they used the bark of the palm tree, and created books to cover the leaves that they put into one book. Now, this is, for those of you who are just listening, I'm just showing you this to Alex. That's a book or bundle, if you wish. And these books or bundles carry leaves that have one thing in common, and that will be your thumbprint category type. I'll get to it. And then these books or bundles are stored in archives, libraries and archives across, for the most part, southern India, called Tamil Nadu. Now, when you think of an archive or a library, you might think water dispenser, security guards, air condition. Far from it, because we're in India. These are, for the most part, little holes in the wall, dusty, dirty, and they are safeguarded by families. So the vast majority of these bundles are in private libraries and archives. There are big ones too, municipal ones, state ones, federal ones, and I've been to, I think by now, to all the big ones. But the vast majority of these bundles, which carry the individual palm leaf, are with families, reader families, that is, because most readers are being taught grandfather, father, son, and so forth. As an outsider, you may become a reader too, of course, and usually you would submit yourself to your guru, to your master, and start sweeping the floor and doing, work here and there, and then eventually he will start divulging his vast knowledge about this to you. And the training lasts about 7 years. It's a long time, because the reader, a fully fledged reader, a real one, an authentic one, has to learn a lot of things. For one, that would be ancient Tamil, because they are written in a dead language. It's kind of like Sanskrit, only the Tamil version of it called Granta. We can call it ancient Tamil too. Doesn't exist anymore. To make things a little more complicated, Tamil and ancient Tamil both are a syllabic language, sound-based. Unlike all Western languages, English, since you were just in France, French, Italian, all West, even Persian, I'm not Persian, letter-based, A, B, C, D. Tamil, ancient Tamil, is not. Similar to Chinese Mandarin, if you wish. If we had to convert them into letters, it would be 247 letters in a Western language, a lot. So he has to study that. It's kind of like ancient Greek and modern Greek. A modern Greek person does not read, write, or understand ancient Greek. They go to university to study ancient Greek, even though modern Greek roots in ancient Greek. Same thing with Tamil and ancient Tamil. So it's a syllabic language, it's a dead language. In order to be able to compress so much information onto the leaf, they use code. And the code consists of a lot of different messages. And one of them, the tool that we use to tap into it, would be Vedic astrology. Vedic astrology is a new hip term for the real word that we used, Indian or Hindu astrology. But in the 70s, Ayurveda became hip in the West. So they started to use the term Vedic astrology to connect it to Ayurveda. But in reality, it's Indian astrology or Hindu astrology. So the reader is also a fully fledged Vedic astrologist. Now, I know after doing this for 10 years, I'm not an astrologist, but I've done readings, one or two, you can rest assured, quite many. I now know that Vedic astrology is more precise than Western astrology. And the simple, just to keep it simple, difference would be Western is based on the sun. That's the one astrology that we all know. And Indian astrology is based on the moon. That's one big factor that separates these two. Then he has to know about numerology, gemology, Ayurvedic principles, because all of that message is on the leaf, specifically written for the person who gets a reading, because not every reading is the same. Yes, Alex, I can see that you want to ask me something.
Yes. So, okay. There's a lot to download here.
I know.
There's a tremendous amount to download here. Okay. So let's say I'm going to go get a reading.
Yep.
And all of these
leaves, I would recommend you, by the way.
Which we'll discuss after this interview is over.
Yeah.
So if I want to get a reading, if all of the leaves that were written down 2,000 to 5,000 years ago are scattered throughout this state in India, how can you find my leaf if it's not all in one?
We're gonna get to that.
Library.
Don't worry, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. It's as I told you already before we even started this interview, it's very complex, and the more I learn about it, the more I know, oh my God, it never stops. So 2,000 to 5,000 years ago, these enlightened sages, and those of you who are watching this video on YouTube, I just am showing Alex a picture of 18 main Maharishis. 18. There were hundreds of Maharishis who wrote these, hundreds. But these 18 we deem as the main ones. And the guy in the center with the pot belly, his name is Agastya. So Agastya is considered to be the main guy. He wrote the most leaves. He was not just a Maharishi connected to Nadi readings. He was a poet, a scientist. He did a lot of things in his life. And so if you get a reading, usually they would find a book written by him. If you do several readings, then they will look for different Maharishis that might have a leaf for you too. So to answer your question, yes, you can have several readings in your lifetime, not just one. You can, because there were so many different Maharishis who wrote a leaf. That's one thing. So they said in meditation, yes?
Before you go into it, just because they wrote leaves for every human being, or is it not everyone has one? How does that work?
Well, now we can, that will be for part 2, but if you already want to go deep into the rabbit hole, well, we can tap into that now too. As I explained, I read the book by Deepak Chopra, The Book of Secrets. And in this book, he talks about his own Nadi reading experience. Went in one ear and out the other. I read it, went in and out, boom. My own girlfriend, who is now my partner in crime, in what we do, she told me a year before I heard it, there is palm reading, I want to gift it to you. Didn't even sink in. And I'm a sucker for anything spiritual. I'm telling you, I'm a sucker for this. Didn't register. So that means most of us will never get a reading because it's not in here. It's not. It's just, I'm just scraping on the surface here. Through the meditation that I do, and I meditate a lot, and I've explained to you, I think before the recording started, I really go deep, very, very, very deep. I've done crazy things in my lifetime. And through the meditation, my own meditation, without any shamanic help, and with shamanic help, I realized that when you go deep, very deep, and there is no more thought, you become one with the universe. You understand that this, whatever we consider to be reality, is a matrix, for lack of a better term.
It's an illusion.
Yeah. It's an illusion. I know that for sure. Now, what we do with this illusion, again, we've got free will and choice to make the most out of this particular journey that we chose to have in this shape and form now, period. I don't want to go too deep into this because I can talk about this for hours. Now, and then, because I now even manage once in a while, not all the time, to get to the point by myself. It's scary, I understand. It can be overwhelming, I know that too. But once you're there and there is no more thought, then you realize, oh my God, the beginning of creation is thought. Once I verbalize something in here, that is the wow part. Before that, there is universe. It's all is one. It's beautiful. And like, my God, now I know what it might be once I am reunited with moksha, and we can talk about that too. That means liberation and be reunited with the eternal source. And then you have a thought, and you start creating something. Body, couch, this and that, the other, the reality that you're in. And so the thought comes in, palm reading, boom. So the thought is in here, but you don't do anything about it, but it's there. And then when you do an act, you do something physically to bring the thought into reality. And in our case, would be to submit your thumbprint, which I will explain. Then at the moment when you submit your thumbprint, you bring this into your own reality. At the same time, 3,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, I do not know, one of these Maharishis starts dictating the leaf and the message for Alex, because now you're ready to get to receive the information that you want. I need to maybe further explain it. Given all the work that I've done as a simple human being, again, I'm just a simple guy. I wasn't raised by parents who were shamans or knew how to meditate. My dad, until he died, couldn't even pronounce the word yoga correctly. Kept saying yoga. I said, Dad, that's something completely different. So that, I'm just a regular guy. Really, I am. But if I can do it, good news is anyone can do it too, you see? And that's, in my opinion, the best news there is. And so I realized that time, the way we perceive it, is not the reality. It cannot be. Everything happens at the same time. I'm pretty sure of it. Can I prove it? No. Can I explain it? No. But I'm pretty sure deep down that that's just the way it is. So that means if there is no past, if there is no now, if there is no future, the way we perceive time, linear, compress it into one, that means everything happens at the same time. That also must mean that Alex, you and I are one. Must mean. So all one.
So let me I mean to interrupt you for the first second, because this is one of my favorite topics. Is this everything happening at the same time? I've talked to quantum physicists about this. I've talked to yogis about this. I'm trying to explain what the Maharishis were doing 3,000, 5,000, 6,000, whatever thousands years ago. Is it possible that if everything is happening at the same time, which quantum physics is now really starting to dive into, that means that there's no past, there is no future, there is no present. It all is happening at the exact same time. I always say that the needle record happens to be where you and I are right now on the record, but the record is all there already. It's just,
yes, correct.
This is where we're at. Could the Maharishis, because of their level of enlightenment in this plane, were able to, and I'm using this as an analogy, step back, see the entire record, and that's where they got the information? Because for them, it's not going into the future. it's there already. They're just kind of tapping into that signal and writing it down. So it seems like it's past the future, but really they were just, oh, that's already there. So boom. And that's kind of the way psychics work in many ways. Is that fair?
Yes. Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah. Of course.
Okay.
It is.
Good.
Believe me, that's all I think about and do all day long is exactly this topic.
Okay.
But it's, how should I say, advanced, or it's, it's a rabbit hole. Once you're in it, there is no turning back, and it's just going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And you need to be careful not to go nuts, because it's mind blowing, in order to stay grounded and so forth. So I didn't want to scare anyone either, but I wanted to, since you addressed it, I'm happy to talk about it now too. Why things are the way they are. No, there is no leaf for every single person, because not every single person hears it, period. They don't. Done. If you don't seek, hence Nadi reading, seeker, then there is no time, the exact time for the message to be given to you from a leaf, also Nadi being the exact moment in time when the message is delivered to you. So that is coming back again to how it works now, because I said these bundles or books carry leaves that have one thing in common, that will be a thumbprint. That now is the beginning of me explaining the process. The process is the exact same as it has been for thousands of years. It's a 3-step process. One will be search for a bundle that hopefully contains your leaf. 2, the matching. That means we go through the book, which I will open up this, to find your leaf. And when the leaf matches you, that's called a match. And then the reading. 3 steps. Now, a big step will be for you to submit your thumbprint. Again, you got to think back thousands of years. How could the rishis make sure that they connect a leaf with the individual? Again, at that time, people couldn't read or write. They couldn't, but they had one thing that really marked them as an individual. That will be your thumb impression. So they said, okay, we're going to lock the leaf with the human through their impression. Men, right thumb. Female, left thumb. Important. Right the guys and left the girls. You submit it. The reader looks at your thumbprint and identifies your category type. There are 108 different category types. That's important to know. Just to study thumbprint category types is a science in itself. Very complex, and yet the reader identifies it. And then once he knows your category type, he goes on a physical search for book or bundle. That means from one archive to the next, to the next, to the next. There is no computer system involved. There is no registry involved. There isn't. Doing this for decades, of course, they have a rough idea where should I go to find it, but it takes time. Hence, I tell everyone, guys, the average search time for a bundle with our institute is 6 to 16 weeks. So he would first look at his own archive, and then he would to the neighbors, and then he would hop on his bicycle, go a little further away. He would hop on a moped that he has, go even further away. He would hop on a public bus, go for a couple hours to look. And if it's too far, nowadays, of course, we have, I don't know, brokers or agents. He would call, the different municipalities saying, hey, my friends, I need a bundle or book that matches this category type. Do you have one or two or not? If he says yes, he ships them over. He looks at them. Yep, could be right. And then he will call you in the office. So that's a physical act. People are so impatient. They send us an email 2 days after they submit your thumbprint is, do you have, my friend, read the emails that we send you. It takes 6 to 16 weeks. It can be sooner. It can be just one day. It can be, of course. He walks into his own archive. Boom, there is one. He takes it out. Now, people need to understand that there are thousands of bundles, thousands with just one category type, and there are 108 different category types. That means we're talking millions of bundles, real ones, not the fake ones, because if you add the fake ones to it, then God knows how many we have. And in each one of these bundles or books, originally in the old days, we had 108 leaves, max 108. But of course, time goes by, they're brittle, they crack, there's fire, there's this and that, the other. So we have, on average, I don't know, 20 to 60 maybe in a bundle today, 20 to 60. That means we got tens of millions of leaves all over the place. In the old days, the hub for Nadi reading is a town called Vaitishvaran Koil in the center of Tamil Nadu. That's where the Maharishis lived, many of them. and my office is not far from Batiswaran Coil. Life happened. So the Tamils spread into other parts of India. That means you can have a reading in other parts of India. Of course you can, because they took their bundles with them. And then now we got Tamils in Sri Lanka. You can have a reading in Sri Lanka too. They moved to Bali. You can have readings in Bali too. Of course you can. And to make things a little more complicated, in the northern parts of India, we also had Maharishis who tapped into the Akashic Records. And those leaves are written in Sanskrit. And Brigu will be the most important one of them that people might have heard of or not. So we got Agastya, the main guy in the south, Brigu is the main guy in the north, and dozens of good ones, real enlightened humans called Maharishis in between. But the hub, the center, is the south. So then, so the physical act takes a while, got to be patient. And then it brings him to the office. And if you were in India, you would walk into the office, because people say, oh my God, I want to do it in India. It's so much more romantic. I'm like, my friends, you have no idea how the reality is. Because I go to India all the time. It's
not romantic.
It's not romantic at all. The way we do it is 10,000 times better, because you are in your home. It's either air conditioned or heated, depending on when you do it. You can sip your cup of coffee or tea, and you're in a relaxed environment. There, it's hot as hell. Mosquitoes, they use 20 incense sticks, which drives me nuts. There is noise, there is this, there is other. You're cramped in a small office, called an office. In reality, there's a hole in the wall. You can hardly breathe, and that is my experience. So it's anything but romantic. And then, so the search comes to an end. You now know where they are and how the search works. Because people think, oh, you're just going to Google me and you find me. It's like, man, first of all, I make no money with this. So whether you come and get a reading or not, to me personally, makes no difference. One. Two, you need to know that India is a very poor country. I'm a big fan of India, and I can, to some extent, deal with it. Can I live there? I already explained to you before we started the recording. No, I cannot. But my readers travel an hour or more to come to the office, because at home they don't have internet. One, they have an outhouse, my friends. They take a number 2 in a hole on the ground, in the ground. So do you think he, me, or anyone else wastes a minute of my precious day to Google anyone? You can rest assured, no. But if that is your main concern, then please do not get a reading, period. That's just the reality of it. We don't have time for that. Because I get emails too, oh, you Googled me, you hacked my social security. I'm like, man, the amount you pay for this is not worth it. It's not. If you paid 100,000, maybe, but you're not. So so you got to trust the process too. And I know how it works behind the scenes, and I know how my readers work. They meditate. They come into the office. They meditate. They get them into the state and the right state of mind. They're way more advanced than we all are when it comes to everything out there. And then they tap into it. So you come to the office and they're ready for you, and then the matching and the reading happens. So matching means this. First of all the leaves in this, as I explained to you before, have one thing in common. Every leaf has the same thumbprint category type as you. That means you travel with your soul sisters, soul brothers in a book or bundle. You're not related to them. It could be a gentleman from France. It could be a lady from Australia. I do not know. But you travel together. They might not even have been born yet or long dead, but it's one bundle. And each bundle has like a symbol or a number on the cover. So when the reader goes into the office, into these archives libraries, he just looks at the cover and then knows, okay, match, no match. That's how it works. And all of the thousands of bundles that would match, he just doesn't take the very first one and says, oh, that's the one. No, he, is there somehow connected, because I talk to my readers all the time. He says, I do not know. I think that's the one. And then he pulls it out, So it's some sort of a divine connection for them too. And 90% of the time, that means 9 times out of 10, they pull the right bundle out. Imagine, out of the thousands out there, that's just mind-blowing to me too. So they bring it to the office, and then they open the book in front of you. And in this case, will be a book of Agastya. Agastya is the main guy, the guy who wrote the most bundles. And you can call him a GP if you wish, as he gives general guidelines about your life. And so they would open up the bundle in front of you. And those of you watching this on YouTube, by the way, this is a mock-up, because I used to bring original one to my talks, live talks, I go to expos all the time. And the one thing I tell people, please don't touch. What do people do? They touch it. I said, man, This is 300 years old. You just cracked it. So we copied it, and it's an original bundle, just copied over so people can touch it. And if you can see, you know, the inscription, it's ancient Tamil. It's called Granta. So then the reader would open up this book, just as I do now. And then he would look, so I open up the book now, and then he would look at the very first leaf. He will look at it, and then he will read out for you a statement that he deems to be the most important statement on this leaf. And your job in the matching process, Laura went through it, so she understands that and I have to remind people over and over again, the only job that you have during the matching process is to say yes or no, correct or incorrect, right or wrong. That's it. These are not questions, these are statements, because he's matching a leaf to you. And again, for you to trust that this is you, the rishis, the Maharishis wrote down information on here so that you can say, yes, that's me. So that our, you know, limiting intellectual mind can understand and accept, okay, that's me, understand. Cool. So he reads out statements to you. You're married. That means now. So it's your present reality. If you're married now, you say yes. If you're not married now, you say no. No need to ever give any more information than a yes or a no. Let's say you're going through divorce, but you're still married, and he says, you're married now? You say yes. No need to say, yes, I'm married, but I'm going through divorce. It's irrelevant. Yes or no. And then for as long as you say yes, he stays on the same leaf and reads out more information to you. You have 2 siblings, yes or no. I don't know, you were born February, March, yes or no. And if you say yes, he stays on it. If you say no, well, that's not your leaf, he flips over to the next one and starts from scratch. Whatever important message he sees on that leaf, he reads out to you. And then as long as you say yes, he stays on it. And then boom, I should say, match happens when the reader starts reading out to you. He knows nothing about you, nothing. He knows your thumbprint category type because you submitted your thumbprint. So he knows that you're male or female, and that's it. That's all he knows. And you can rest assured that in our institute, we don't let the reader know because he's not even interested in knowing who you are. He will then read out to you your first name, your mother's first name, your father's first name, your date of birth, your time of birth, your weekday of birth, if you have a partner's name, and here comes the killer. If you have ex-partners that you haven't spoken to in years and you hate their guts, boom, they show up on the leaf too. And you're like, oh my God, how come that bugger is on the leaf? Well, apparently he was important to your soul. So that person's name can be on the leaf too. How many children you have, their gender, siblings, how many, gender. To me, I was blown away. When he said, you have parents from 2 different continents, I was like, man, oh man, this guy does not know me from boo. You know, my mom's European, my dad's, you know, Persian. That means Asia. So 2 different continents. Correct. That's you. To me, it was mind blowing. I was just sitting there stunned because my mom's name, you know, again, to me, that's how it sounds dumb, because it's also delivered to you in a sing-song, because it's written as a poem, not in prose. It would be awesome if we would say, oh, this leaf belongs to Alex. His mom's name is, you know, the leaf, one more time, you see how small the leaf is? It cannot be like that at all. So it's very small, 2 sides, you know? So it's written in code and as a poem. And the reader has to learn how to deliver it to you as well, because it's delivered in a sing-song. And the reason why they do it, the way he does it, you know, again, sound, waves, energies, it has healing faculties in it. So bam, badam, 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 Alex. You're like, oh my God. So in my case, dam, badam, badam, Gisela. Meaning, your mother's name is Gisela. I was like, oh my God. I know he has never heard that name in his life before. Gisela is a German first name. And my dad is like, Siavash. I said, oh my God, you know, my father's name is Siavash. I guarantee he's never heard of that name before. And so I knew it's me. I knew it, period. And then, so that's called match. And when you can embrace the fact that it is you, the second step, the matching, you know, search finished, match finished, then the reading happens. And the reading is based on 3 aspects. First of all, it starts with the day, the moment you get the reading, because it's nadi. Not a day before, not a day later, on that day, boom, 1. Then it's based on three aspects. Aspect one is your thumbprint name, your category name, because your thumbprint name is like your genetic imprint. It's your baseline. It's you. It's your soul's journey, neither good nor bad. And we explain your thumbprint name in detail to you in your reading so that you understand why certain things are the way they are. And if you're a little more mature, and we too are, we can look back and understand why certain things are the way they have been and will be. So it's general, and yet you're like, oh my God, now I understand. Okay, so that's your thumbprint name. It's your baseline. That's the only thing in a reading you cannot change. The two other parts change all the time. First of all, it would be your energies, not your mood, whether you had to fight with your wife in the morning or not, morning coffee or not, makes a difference. That would be your mood. Your energies, according to our system, a human's energies changes every 6 months. You can be in an energetic cycle where there is a leaf for you, or in an energetic cycle there is no leaf for you. I'm just giving an example here. So your energies that change all the time. Then the stars and the planets, they have an impact on us, a big impact, whether we want it or not. And the vehicle we use in Nadi readings to tap into that message would be Vedic astrology, in an astrology. As I explained to you before, a reader is a fully fledged Vedic astrologist. Vedic astrologists make a living. They help a lot of people, and yet their entire career in a Vedic astrologist is just one tiny aspect of a reader's education. So hopefully that makes you understand a little more why it takes so long for a reader to become a reader. Because on your leaf, there are references to planets and how they interact with you. So you need to understand what is going on. So that changes all the time too. So two parts change all the time. One part never changes, your baseline, your genetic imprint, called your thumbprint category type. So based on these three, he looks at the leaf, decodes it, and gives you a possible life trajectory from today until there is no more writing on the leaf, which could mean the end of your life, but not necessarily. Now I'm explaining to you the most important part in one sentence, why anyone can get a reading, because these Maharishis wrote the message for you. And if we go deep down the rabbit hole, you wrote it for yourself, because we're all one in reality, right? To create a better life trajectory for yourself after your reading. Better. Whatever better means to you. We all carry across one shape, form, or another. Mine is health. I just didn't want to be in hospital anymore. Some people want a relationship, kids, better money, a more meaningful job, whatever better means. If you are crazy enough wanting to live longer, well, then better means longer for you too. Hence, I say it could mean the end of your life, but not necessarily. I do not want to extend my life. I'm done. I'm telling you, I'm more than happy to check out here and then kick back up there and sip my pina colada and say sayonara to never come back. But that's a different story. We can talk about that at a different podcast. So that's it. A better life trajectory for yourself. Now, no one's life, also very, very important, no one's life is set in stone. Cannot be, because we have free will and choice every single day. Do I turn left or right? Do I drink coffee in the morning or not? Tea instead of coffee? Big, small, and big choices and decisions that we make every single day, moment that we exist. But what it can do is it can show you a possible life trajectory from today's point of view. It helps you as a blueprint, as a compass, as a map, so that you, with your free will and choice, can steer your ship in a direction that brings you to calmer waters, happier waters, healthier waters, whatever that might be for you. And if you don't like that trajectory, because a lot of blocks were identified in your reading, well, then the reading helps you to overcome them so that you can go the direction that you want. So that's the fundamental part of all of this that I'm sharing with you now. You have free will and choice. Your life is not set in stone. It's here as a tool to help you to make the right decisions to get to wherever you want to get to. And it's also important for people to understand, the reading is not here to make you feel good about yourself. Oh, I'm so cool, I'm chosen, I don't know, I'm special. No, it's not. It's a raw, brutal reading. It is. It can be very brutal. It's not sugarcoated at all. And to some people, it's a shock. And I get emails all the time. Oh, the reading was terrible. So in the old days, I was like, terrible? That's impossible. My readers are extremely good. So I watched their recordings to realize that was a fantastic reading. Only they weren't told that they're special or, no. The reading is here to help you create a better life trajectory for yourself, wherever you are this moment in time. It's raw. It's not sugarcoated. It gives you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Good means, in simple terms, it's a good period to do X, whatever the X might be. Write a book, move, find a partner, get pregnant, expand your business, change jobs, whatever. It's a period of time. You get free will and choice. We just show you the water. Whether you drink from it is up to you. The bad and the ugly basically mean there is a block identified in your reading, in your life. You have had blocks before too. You were just unaware of them. You were hitting a tree because you were walking through a forest as a blind person. You walk through it, boom, you hit a tree, you have no idea why. The reading shows you there is a block. Now you know it. What you do with it again is up to you. But the real power in a reading, as I said, we give you a life trajectory, we tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we do whole life readings, whole life. A leaf is divided into 14 chapters, and each chapter covers a part of a human's life: health, education, family, spirituality, you name it. Read it all. The most important driver in my life is to be ethical, period. I want to be ethical. So we give you, that's what my dad told me. I have to be very grateful for him. He was a wealthy man, and also a man who had a lot of enemies because he was an ethical. He said, son, money makes no difference. Status makes no difference. The only thing that you have is your name. Don't F it up. You're going to be ethical, period. So, and hence I'm very open about all that we do. So there is no woo-woo involved in this. I'm not embellishing anything. I'm not telling you, oh, you're chosen, you're special. No, it's here to help you no matter where you are today. And so the real power in this, the secret is in your thumbprint that connects you with your leaf. That's a secret. But the power, the magic that helps you, because that's the only person who can do it, you, to change and overcome the blocks, is the last chapter of your reading, and that will be the puja reading. Puja, literally translated, means healing, prayer ceremony, or ceremonial act. Now, in Western terminology, because I've done this once or twice over the past 10 years already, given quite many talks about this, is like an energy shifting exercise. That's what it is. Energy shifting exercise. If we all can agree, time doesn't exist the way we think it exists, that good things or whatever we consider to be good, money comes in, the job is okay, my partnership is fantastic, kids, good things that we can embrace and live with, versus things that we don't like, health issues and, I don't know, being bullied at work. Doesn't matter, whatever, not so good things is just energy. And it all starts here. So you can shift the energy, and that's the beauty of an audio reading. They already knew this thousands of years ago. It's just energy, man. Change it. We show you the blocks, and we show you a tool to help you overcome those blocks. Again, we need to think back. Simple people 5,000 years ago, you got to give them homework. Now, the one example that I use most often is this. I read a book several times, way before I even got involved with this, by Paramahansa Yogananda. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you read it yourself. The autobiography of a yogi, right? So there you go. I work with the Yogananda Institute now too. They send us quite many people. I met them in person. They know that we're ethical. So I was reading this, and of course I was blown away because they talk about saints, people who live 400 years and can do this and that. I'm a half Baha'i, half Catholic kid. I was an altar boy, and I went to Sunday school with the Baha'i. So to me, a saint is like somebody's long dead and did something wonderful. And then yet in the book, there are millions of people that are saints, and they walk on the streets and do this and that, the other. And so Yogananda talks about his guru when he was a teenager, and his guru was a healer. I don't remember the exact words, so I'm just using my own words. So this guru, they travel through, these villages, and all these villagers come because he can heal them. So they line up, people with terrible diseases, leprosy, which is deadly, and you don't want to get even close to a person with leprosy. Thank God we don't have that anymore these days. Cancer, they all line up, and he looks at them and says, "You're healed." And then he gives them a homework, crazy homework. He says, "This raw egg you will carry in your right pocket for the next 3 weeks. Make sure it doesn't crack. From now on, you will drink milk with your right hand for the next 2 weeks. Make sure that you don't mix up the hands and you don't spill the milk." Crazy homework. So Paramahansa looks at his guru and says, "Guru, I don't understand. You can heal him. I know, I've seen it, you can heal him. Why the hell do you give him crazy homework?" Again, these are my loose words that I'm using here. And he says, "Son," he says, "I know I can heal them, and you know too, but they don't. So they got to do something where they focus their energies on this raw egg to carry it in their left pocket for the next 3 weeks, make sure it doesn't crack. And by the time they invested their energies, healing will manifest itself in them. If he's careless, he's like, whatever, egg cracks, well, then obviously he's not ready for it, or he doesn't really want it. Hence, healing will not manifest." So the pujas are the exact same as what Paramahansa Yogananda wrote in his book. You showing the universe that you're serious about change. The reading, the Maharishis told you, these are the blocks. Good news is, and I keep telling everyone, if a block is identified in your reading, don't collapse and be sad. And it's like, oh my God, so many clouds. Just embrace them with all your heart and say thank you, because it is a blessing in disguise. Now you know you have a block, man. Say thank you. And then at the same time, the rishis give you the tool to do something about it. I mean, how cool is that? They show you the problem and here's the solution. And all you got to do is just follow directions verbatim. That's the killer, verbatim. The reading, not verbatim. It's a general direction. You like it, do something to achieve it. You don't like it, do something to overcome it, and so you can go in the direction that you want. But the pujas, where the real magic and power lies, the very last chapter of your reading, you must prove to the universe and to yourself that you're serious about change. And you need to do them exactly as prescribed. Not a day before, not a day later, not the way you feel like. You got to do it exactly. And they're not big either, man. They will take time, but it's nothing crazy that you need to do. It's just do it on the exact day as prescribed. And as you do, you will see energies will start shifting, and you will bring into your reality a reality that you prefer, that you want. Hence, improve the trajectory of your life.
Dr. Q, this is fascinating. I look forward to getting one of these in the future, my friend. With all of the hundreds, if not thousands, of readings that you've probably been involved with at this point, what is the biggest transformation you've seen in a person's life that you can remember affected by one of these readings?
Well, first of all, my own. Simple. I mean, I'm a white guy. I don't claim to be a superstar, superpower, healer. No, I'm just a regular guy who wants to be a better human. That's my number one drive. And to overcome my health issues, period. And yet, here I am 10 years later talking to you, free of charge. It's my free day where I'm not traveling. I'm here talking to you because it's been an amazing journey for me, and I just want people to get better, whatever better means to them, period. That's one. Two, I can give you many examples, but one of them would be, for example, a lady called Gigi Williams. And she's a big supporter now, and she helps me a great deal, became a dear friend of mine. I met her on my day job where I make the money is in tourism. So she was on one of my tours, and I casually talked about what I do outside of this, doing this institute work. And the people that I support said, oh my God, I want to get a reading done too. And she's a Filipino lady living in Phoenix, Arizona. And she came to the expo. We go to quite many expos. She flew into LA. We do the Conscious Life Expo. I guess you've heard of that too. I've been going there for many years. And many people who run the expo had a reading with us too. And everyone that goes there, they all know me. So she came and she said, oh, I'm ready. So she brought the cash and she said, I want a thumbprint, and boom, we did it. And I was her moderator. Moderator, by the way, so that you understand, in a reading, there are 3 people. a reader who only speaks Tamil and knows how to deal with this, and they don't speak English. So we have to have an interpreter in the office in India, brick and mortar office that we have. Next to him sits an interpreter who interprets Tamil to English, or rather English. Even though I tried my best to help improve their English, and it gets better and better, of course, over the years, but still, to a foreigner, you know, if you've never been exposed to Indian English, it's hard. So in the early days, when I, you know, just helped friends, I at the time realized, man, we need to have a Western person that connects the seeker, whoever gets a reading, with the Indians. So we have in every reading a Western person that I train myself to, who moderates it. So that's he holds your hand from the very beginning to the very end. So when you do the matching and the reading, and if you don't understand what they say, they repeat it for you because their ears have been trained. And I train them also so they can help you understand the deeper meaning of a reading, because you might receive an information, but you do not know what it actually means. Sure. They know, and they will help you. So that's called a moderator. So I was a moderator for Gigi, and the reader, again, a reading is very individualized. Some people get a lot of nutritional support, you know, things they need to eat and not eat. Some people get zero. People think, oh, everyone gets the same. No, absolutely not. Depends on where you are today and what your needs are. And in her case, she's now 77, exact same age as my mom. And her reading was maybe 5 years ago. The reader said, something is wrong. You must get a health check now, he said, which is also odd, you know, you need to get a health check now. And then after the talk, Gigi says, oh, do you think it was, you know, serious? Should I really get a health check? It's like, Gigi, are you kidding me? When the reader says you need to get a health check now, you must go. I'm kicking your butt now, virtually go and, you know, get an appointment with your physician. So she went and did, and boom, she was diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer. So it was already in her, growing, but it was caught in time. She lost both breasts. And I may say so publicly because she's a big supporter. She gave testimonials and she talks to everyone who wants to hear about it. It saved her life. It saved her life. You know, without that, she would have never gone to a physician, and she would now long be dead because of the cancer in her system. And so it took her a couple of years to overcome it, but she's overcome it. And every time she can, and I'll give a talk, she goes and says, my name is Gigi Williams. My age is this, and this is what I can vouch for. Wow. It can be of tremendous, you know, incredible help to you as a seeker. So, you know, Reverend Bill, who was on your show too, in his first reading that he had, I don't know, 20 some years ago, 30 years ago, it stopped at age 70. But Reverend Bill, who's now is also a good friend of mine, I talk to him all the time, and I've seen him in person too, because of the reading, you know, only because of this, because the work and I now got to be friends with you too. Mm-hmm. He, in his first reading, he was told, oh, 70, that's it. And when I met him, I said, no, Reverend, it's a guideline, you know. It only meant at the time there was no more information written for you. So he had a second reading through me, and I was his moderator. And they went deep into his 80s and told him, he didn't tell me either. He's like, now you're writing a book. This is the perfect time to write a book. And it was writing a book at the time. So they told him that he's going to write several more books. He's going to do this and then the other. And Reverend Bill is a big supporter of our institute too. So I may use his name. So not that you think that I'm just blurting things out without their permission. I do have their permission to share their story. So he and Reverend Bill has had a very rough time growing up. You know, he, as you know, because you interviewed him, and he went to Vietnam. Aaron was exposed to Agent Orange, and he had cancer. His entire life, you know, many surgeries later. I relate to him. I love what he does. He's very ethical, very authentic, loving human being, and but he's a so-called remoksha. You know, in your reading, first of all, a person who gets a reading can only souls, and again, I go deeper into the rabbit hole, but since you said I can, only old souls have a reading, period. So these leaves are written for old souls. That means your last life or second last life. People that are younger, you know, their souls that needs to do still a journey, no leaf. So only old ones. Or the poor suckers, as I call them, those who already are past their last life, they are moksha, which means liberation, stupidly, they decided voluntarily to come back to help humanity. And we call those people light workers, time travelers. And Reverend Bill is one of them, one of the few that we had in the lifetime of our institute. So he came back voluntarily. And Reverend Bill is a great example for, because you choose to come back as opposed to mandatorily being here. Now you can say, oh, I didn't want to be here, but I'm here. So you can blame them, whatever them might be. But Reverend Bill, I said, Reverend Bill, the only person you can blame is you, my friend. You chose to be back, and you did not choose an easy life for yourself because of all the problems that he's had and the health issues. So just because you choose coming back does not necessarily mean that you can lead the life of a pasha and have servants and drink milk out of gold cups,
golden chalice.
So yeah, correct. So that is a little bit about the readings and who it's written for. So old souls, plus, and maybe I don't want to go too deep into that because it might burst your brain too. We have 4 yugas. Remember I told you my dad.
Of course. The yugas, yeah.
You know it. My dad keeps saying yuga while he meant yoga, because he was not into this at all. But these yugas are time periods, 4 distinct time periods. We can compare them to, I'm just explaining, you might know, but maybe the audience does not know. 4 time periods, we can compare them to the seasons.
Sure.
To keep it simple. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. Now we are in so-called Kali Yuga, and Kali Yuga is comparable to winter time, which in a deeper sense means that the minority of souls is evolved or more evolved, and the majority is not. We're in dark times. So the brunt lies on the shoulders of a minority of people to carry the majority through dark times. So within the minority of people, a max of 25% of souls are like that, have the potential. It's all about potential because we've got free will and choice. You can still end up killing someone and being greedy and stealing money and doing all the crazy things that we do as an enlightened soul. Only the old souls within the enlightened 25% get a reading. And the Maharishis did that. So those of us who get a reading can create a better life trajectory for ourselves and help hence others with their lives. Because as an old soul, you get homework called pujas. And in my case, the puja was a lifelong puja. Boy, little did I know at the time when they told me that, to social service and spiritual service. Lifelong. Because the pujas are usually a cycle of 8 Saturdays, 5 Thursdays. You might have several of them, might take you 6 or 9 months to do them, but it's a one-time cycle and you're done. But an old soul's within the reading is lifelong puja, social service, spiritual service, which means you want to help others consciously as best as you can, from the small, helping an elderly lady across the street consciously, to running a soup kitchen, doing free coachings or whatever people do.
Sure.
Donate money. And spiritual service means to help others grow spiritually. I thought, you know what, just to help people with the reading. That's it. Little did I know that 10 years in, I'm talking to you. Thousands of readings later. And now things have gone out of hand, really, because I'm doing things that I never in my life thought.
Right.
So that is here to help us to make this a better place, because we are in the tail end of Kali Yuga. We do not know how much longer Kali Yuga will be, but we know it's the tail end. Some people say 30 years, some people say 100 years. Who knows? It's maybe longer than my lifetime, but we are getting there. So our job as people who get a reading and are enlightened souls on this planet is to just be of service to others, make this a better place, period. And that's why I'm here talking to you.
So, Dr. Q, this has been such a fascinating conversation, and I'm looking forward to getting a reading and reporting back to the audience on what my reading was as well. Now, I'm going to ask you a few questions I ask all of my guests.
Of course.
What is your definition of living a good life?
Living a good life to me means that I can help. I want to
If you
be
had
ethical and help. That's it.
if you had
That's a
if
good
you had a chance to go back in time and talk to little Dr. Q, what advice would you give him?
Don't worry. In the end, it all makes sense.
How do you define God?
You and me, all of us.
And what is the ultimate purpose of life?
Dharma, to be of service, help others.
And where can people find out more about you, these readings, and the work that you're doing, the amazing work you're doing in the world?
Thank you. Well, our institute is called, well, the website is Indian Palm Leaf Reading, indianpalmleafreading.com. It's pretty simple. The cost is $100 for the search, which again, being as ethical as I can be. If we don't find a bundle for you, this is a bundled book one more time. In 6 months from the moment the search starts, because we are waiting to get your thumbprint, and then if the thumbprint is good, the search will start. And from that moment onwards, we look for 6 months. Average search time is 6 to 16 weeks, so 3-4 months. Can be faster, but can take a little longer too. We give you your money back. So that's the money to cover the search part of it. If you find a bundle, we send you an email saying, congratulations, a bundle has been found. Now you can pay the remaining balance, and it will be $400 for the matching and the reading. You pay, and then you can book your reading. We have readings 7 days a week, twice a day, because we cover the world. So we have readings at 6:45 a.m. East Coast time, so we can cover the East Coast, and at 9:45 p.m. West Coast time. That would be 12:45 a.m. New York time. Twice a day, 7 days a week, several readings a day that we offer. And in each reading, there will be the reader, interpreter, moderator. There's a way more work than you might think involved in it. And every reading helps me, us, the Institute, to help more people. So as I've told you, we donate money to the orphanage, which is a CCWE trust. They know of us. You can all Google it. It's all out in the open. And even more so, now I'm starting to incorporate on a larger scale cow donations to poor people in India. You can buy a cow and donate it to a family, a milk cow, which helps them for years to have their basics covered. So our website is indianpalmleafreading.com. You can find me on of course, on all of it. We've got Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. And my name is Dr. Q, and Dr. Q Moayad, M-O-A-Y-D. I got my website. It's all one now because that's all I do outside. I stopped to have no time period. That's the one thing I have not in my life anymore is time. And so you can find me as a person and the Institute as a separate entity on all of it: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. By the way, you can go on YouTube and find us, Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute. Several people started to allow us to put their reading, and you have complete privacy. No one ever gets to see it. But they said, oh, I'm happy to share my experience with the world. So we put their entire matching and reading on YouTube. And the lady who started it might be of interest to you too, to meet her. Her name is Dr. Erica Middlemas. She lives in Phoenix too. And when I met her at the Conscious Life Expo, I said, oh my God, Dr. Q, you do such a great work. You know what? She had no clue what I'm doing, really. She just felt drawn to it. I said, you know what? Record it and put it on YouTube. I said, Erica, you have no clue what to talk about. That's very intimate. They will tell you the good, the bad, and ugly, and there will be dirt, I said, oh, don't worry about it. And so we did, and now she has 100,000 views already. Her reading, like her actual super personal private reading, is on there. And when people saw that she put it out there, now we have 12 people who said, oh, I'm happy to do it too. So Reverend Bill has put his on it, and God knows, a 19-year-old kid from Poland who's been mentoring ever since had put it out there. I said, man, that's very, I was shocked. I said, man, they talk about you being gay. Your parents don't even know that yet. I said, don't worry about it. Just put it on. So we have a 19-year-old kid, Reverend Bill, who's like 70-some years old. male, female, Indian people had their reading be put on. So people can actually watch it. They understand that it's out in the open. I have nothing to hide. It's as authentic as it possibly can be. And but rest assured, everyone else, it's highly private. We do not keep any records. Once your reading is done, once you downloaded your files, it's deleted from my system. So you cannot come back 5 months later saying, oh, I lost my computer. Can I have a copy of it? No, you cannot. It's deleted. It's over. So I'm telling you this too. It's on you. Once you downloaded it, my system tells me it's been downloaded. So you get a recording of your reading. You get the whole chat history of Zoom. We do it over Zoom too, because we tap a lot for you to understand things better. You get pictures of your palm leaf, both sides in high resolution. And most importantly, at the end, your pujas in a PDF format, including all the gods and goddesses. All you got to do is just print them out and follow directions. Once you have that sucked into your system, we send it via WeTransfer, and the system tells me that you have downloaded it. The system automatically deletes it. I don't know. It doesn't happen right away, but
7 days. 7 days.
I don't know, man. I'm not an IT person. I'm an idiot when it comes to IT stuff. So it's gone. So because I get emails all the time. Oh, can we get this? And I said, no. I told you it's in the email that we sent you. Download it. You got 30 days to download it, and once it's downloaded, the system automatically deletes it. So I can go back and reconstruct it.
Gotcha.
So it's private. It's important for me to tell, because people think, oh my God, there's readings online, and how come? And we have written permission from whoever is online. It's a very different story altogether. The vast majority, private, period.
Dr. Q, thank you again so much for coming on the show and sharing this this ancient technology, if you will, this ancient wisdom with all of us, my friend. So I appreciate you and everything you're doing for the world, my friend. So thanks again.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Click on one of the videos below to continue your journey, and don't forget to subscribe.